Hello everyone and welcome to a special episode of the SWW show. I'm Mike. This over here is not AJ in the slightest. In fact, he has a much better accent. So could you state your name and where you're from?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Rune Drusen, and I'm one of the developers and one of the founders and one of the partners of the awesome game company called Triband. And it's fairly small, and it's based in Denmark, Copenhagen.
Nice. Denmark, Copenhagen. So correct me if I'm wrong. Am I wrong to picture Denmark is just always like extremely cold outside is all I'm picturing, like negative 10 degrees, like snowing, everyone's
Polar bears and Eskimos everywhere. No, like I mean, we have I think the weather here it tends to be windy because we don't have any mountains, so it's fairly flat. But I think like in the summer it gets warm, and like in the winter it gets cold. So you can definitely see the seasons changing, which is nice. But it's wet and windy. Think of it as England, basically.
Okay. Well, that's not fair. England, I picture everyone just drinking tea like next to a taxi, so it's fine. It's a very view of Europe I have. Don't worry.
yeah, that's fine.
Which is fine. You probably picture me walking around in like a place full of guns, like everyone comically having like, a giant gun on their side.
yeah, and being enormous, like fat and eating fast food all the time in their car.
Around with like a thing of donuts. And, like, do you want one? Like, it's fine.
yeah. I have plenty. Yeah.
So can you talk about then? So we'll get to a second of like your game that we're going to talk about, but can we get to like what is your like history of like making games and getting into game development?
Actually, this is my first like real professional game.
Okay.
We did like another release in the studio, and it was called Keyboard Sports Saving QWERTY, and it was kind of a tribute to the keyboard, and you had to use all the keys on the keyboard and move around, and it was full of puns and tea, and like the idea was that there's a lot of keys that you don't use on your keyboard when you play computer games, and we really wanted people to use all of them, also the scary keys like control or whatever. Yeah. And like the whole idea was that people should sit in front of the keyboard and kind of think of it as this like new magical thing. Like the first time you sat in front of a keyboard as a kid, you just saw all these keys and you thought they were amazing, and we really wanted to give people that kind of feeling. But the interesting thing about the game was that it was only released in the Humble Monthly.
Really?
So it was really hard to come by. So it hasn't been released on Steam or anything. So if you wanted it, you had to be part of the Humble Monthly. And actually, it's part of the Humble Trove, so people can go in and get it there. But it's kind of hard to get in a way because that's the only way to get it. So the plan is, of course, to do like a bigger release of that later on. But that was my first real professional game. And before that, I basically just made games at game jams and stuff like that. And
game jam's always the best.
Precisely. And I got tricked into doing my first game jam, and it was amazing. And I was just like kind of blown away. And then I became this huge part of the Nordic Game Jam, which is a very, very big game jam here in Copenhagen. It's actually one of the biggest in the world. So it was massive, and I'm not part of that anymore, but it was a good learning experience and a good way of kickstarting your game career and making a network and all that stuff, all that jazz. But my real background is actually in the creative department of an advertising agency. So I actually don't code at all. I usually say my job is to look out the window while everybody else is looking into the screen. But that's not entirely true, but it sounds good. At least.
That sounds like, there are times, though, when you're making games and you're like, Yeah, what is it? What does anyone else do? Like, you're like, it
Yeah.
can't be worse. And then the other times you're like,
No, no.
games are the best thing in the world.
Yeah. But also, like when you're an indie developer, I think today it's like the competition is fierce. There's so many really good games, and there's extremely bad games too, and quite a lot of them. So, like you tend to, well, you need to be able to bang your own drum even before you release anything. So it's very important to do like the whole marketing thing, like even as you develop, which is kind of funny because you don't have anything to sell and show yet, and you need people to get excited
So,
as soon as you start. Yeah.
so if your day job is, you said marketing stuff, is that what you do on the game too, or do you do like a more technical side of the game?
Well, I don't touch the technical side. I do a lot of Q&A, and then I do a lot of the, like, we ping pong all the creative ideas and stuff like that. And since the company is fairly small, we're only 5 guys, then everybody need to be a kind of a renaissance man. So you need to be able to do a lot of stuff. Like we can't have specialist in a way, because you need to be all over the place. So everybody needs to do a bit of everything all the time.
So you're like the creative filter, we'll call it.
Yeah, you can say that, but like I also go to Boring's meeting and pay the rent and yeah, all that boring stuff also.
All the boring stuff. So let's talk about that. So the game is called What the Golf.
Yeah.
So you'll picture it than I will, but the whole shtick of What the Golf, roughly in my head, is you play golf, but everything responds to said golf ball.
Yeah. Well, the pitch is, the elevator pitch is, it's a golf game for people that hate golf, made by people who know nothing about golf. So we don't know anything about golf, and nobody has played golf in the team, which I think is kind of cool, because there's a lot of stuff we need to figure out. How do we do this, or what do we think? What is a birdie, for example, and how come eagles and albatrosses are important in golf, and holes in ones and all that kind of stuff. And it kind of triggers your imagination, and you can just go wild with it, because like nobody knows. So whoever has the most crazy idea will go with that.
So maybe you understand golf. Did you just get like a blind dictionary of golf terms with no definitions, and you go, "We need this in our game"? Like, how do you go through without like inherently learning golf and like not penalizing the creative process?
Well, it's kind of difficult, because every time you tell people that you're making a golf game,
They tell you about golf?
yeah, because the people who get most excited when you tell them you're making a golf game are, of course, the golfers. And so they start talking about golf, and you just go, oh, stop. I can't hear that. Like, I'm a golf virgin. Don't spoil me. Like, and basically, like, yeah, people who like golf, they really like golf. So when you tell them that you actually know nothing about it, they get quite perplexed and really want to teach you.
That is such like a, because in my head it's always like a certain type of people like golf. So it's always like this interesting thing if they're like, no, don't you want to know? And I'm like, no, really, I don't super care.
Yeah, and they don't always understand why you're being such an idiot or imbecile, but yeah, well, it's my job, so.
What is like your favorite like term in which you guys engulf to mean something else, you think?
That we interpreted it,
Yeah,
you mean?
like you interpreted, like, I assume, like in my head, the joke had be like, you interpreted a birdie as like a bird flying down and picking up the ball. Like, what is your favorite one you've interpreted?
I think our driving range is quite funny, because you just shoot off these cars. So you actually play golf with a car, which is funny. And it's like that level, or that, like, our game is kind of grouped together in a way. So a lot of like similar levels will be close together. So you'll go to some area and it will be, I don't know, for example, it could be the driving area, and there will be a lot of car games. in that area. And I think those levels work really well. And even though I played them 800 times, I still find them funny. And that's always nice. Then you know you're onto something when you actually can still appreciate that. So that's one of the reasons I like the driving range.
So the driving.
It's good mechanic and it's great fun.
So please tell me you guys just experimented with like a bunch of different ideas for cars. So like you're like we could have a sports car, or we could have
yeah. We actually have a monster. We have a monster truck at the moment, and then of course we have like a racing game. And basically, when you start to make a golf game, you find out that everything is golf. Like all like everything, literally everything. Like your breakfast is golf, and Assassin's Creed is golf, and life is golf, and like it's get object A from get one object from A to B. Like get born and die. That's golf. There you go.
I have a picture of everything is golf then. And like the end thing of the game should be like you hit the golf ball, but secretly the entire world was the golf ball, so it's all moving together. It should be like your final like hole-in-one thing.
Yeah, I really don't want to spoil the end yet, because I think a lot of the game is, of course, built up around puns and jokes and the surprise of it. And we tried to spice it up so you can actually play it several times now. But in the beginning, it was all built around the puns and the jokes. So that's basically the backbone. But I think, like, even though if you watch your favorite streamer on Twitch play it, I think you will still find it funny because it's good mechanics and we have a lot of challenges in it. So even though it's funny to watch, it's also funny to play. And I think that's super important when you make a game like this.
No, that for sure sounds super important making a game like this. So I kind of want to jump to, because you said you do a lot of the testing on the game.
Yes.
How do you, so inherently it's physics games are like, because they're physics, they're very wonky. So
yeah.
How do you determine something being like, this is a bug in the game versus like, this is just physics being physics? Is it very much just, you go, is it fun? Or like, is there...
Well, if it's fun and buggy, it's fine. But if it's annoying, then it needs to go, of course. So like, if the testers who play the game get frustrated, then we know we need to fix it. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you have your own, I don't know, sense of pride. So it also kind of needs to look funny bad, if that makes sense. Like it's funny when it glitch and do silly stuff, but it needs to do it in a certain way. So like it can't be crazy. Like then people will just say we're lazy coders and we can't have that.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. It's just very interesting because like, as like physics games have been the trend now for a couple of years, and looking a lot at like the physics stuff, and like I've poked a lot of the physics tools, and inherently like physics just is wonky when you're just applying forces to it or making it react naturally versus like a canned reaction, and it's this fun thing of like, A, how do you test it, and then B, like.
But I also think we get, but I also think that we get a lot of things, I don't know, surfed or in a way we can get away with a lot of things since it's an indie game. So it's not a AAA game. Like if the physics are stupid in one of the big titles, people will get pissed off and say they haven't tested it enough. But like if it's just like an indie games like ours, they'll find it funny and be more like, it's fine, it's okay. Like, and that's super nice.
That makes sense. It's very much like the line of you guys being five guys, like, have the creative, it's like a more natural creative freedom of like what's forgivable even.
And even if you look at the art style is very like bright colors and very cartoonish, and they seem lazy in a way when you look at them. But like, I think it's the Scandinavian mentality with like less is more. So like the less we can do with it, the better in a way.
So actually, let's talk about this. So you say the Scandinavian. So what do you? So you define the Scandinavian idea as like less is more? Would you say from an art and like creative point of view then?
Oh, definitely. Like, I mean, in Denmark, we have a lot of designers who make nice furniture and stuff like that, and I think we're actually standing on their shoulders in a way. And like, I mean, if you go to Denmark and you look at the signs and stuff like that, they're not as bold and bright as they are in the States, for example. There's like another design mentality here in a way. Like everything needs to look nice, even though it's not an important thing. It might just be, I don't know, a napkin or whatever, or a beer coaster, but it still needs to look nice.
Which is funny because it's such the opposite of like America inherently. The themes of America, I'd argue, especially in design, is like exaggerated or over the top or
precisely
like there's very much like we like get in your face in comparatives and
yeah. And I think we are kind of the opposite, and I think that's nice. And I think like I can see that a lot of Japanese people are very into the game. And I think it's kind of the art style and the kind of design decisions we've taken that's also like they enjoy that. But like Japanese people are also very much into Danish design, so it kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And also a lot of these games, like if you open your mobile app, a lot of these games or icons that you see are men shouting, and they kind of look similar in a way. And everybody's in a way trying to copy each other. So all of a sudden, this nowhere style kind of pops up because it's a mix of all the things. So it doesn't come that distinct. And I think our design is very distinct, and I find that very pleasing, and I hope you guys will find it pleasing too. But like, it's really easy to interpretate and see. You can clearly figure out what's going on. Of course, everything is crazy, but you can still figure it out. And it's very, I don't know how to explain it. It's very gifable in a way. Like you can take anything from the game and make a GIF out of it and post it on Reddit, and people would instantly recognize it as this game if they've seen it before.
So that's an interesting thing, because you said so inherently you do a lot of marketing and that kind of back end stuff too. So
yeah.
So is it very much like, so obviously the game right now isn't out yet, so like
no.
How is it that line of like, is it you just go in, or is it kind of like everyone's on the team jobs knows like find us this cool moment if you see it and then you'll just go spread it where it needs to be spread, or like how do you guys define that role?
Yeah, well, again, the team is so small, so everybody kind of needs to be able to, at least to do everything. Mm-hmm. So, and of course, there's somebody on the team who's better at some stuff than others, but like everybody needs to be this Renaissance man who actually yeah, also our great lead programmer Lasse, for example, he actually, every time he codes in the game, he's also on Discord, so he'll also be in there talking to people, which is super nice because it just makes sure that the tone in our Discord channel is super friendly and very on point of who we are and what we do, because we're in there and talking to people and making fun and all that stuff, which is super nice. And Peter and Tim, my partners and owners of the company, are always on Twitter also. So like whenever somebody is posting, they're normally posting it from their own Twitter account, and then we will repost it from the Triband account in a way. Then sometimes we'll post like in the Triband account, but normally people just post cool stuff from the game on their personal Twitter or whatever, and then we retweet it. And I think in a way that makes it more, how can I explain it? It makes it more, it doesn't seem so professional in a way, but it keeps it honest in a way.
So it's interesting because like even like your Discord feed, which you invited me into, like it is surprising for like something your guys' size, like how many people are actually in it and looks like are active, which is a very impressive feat too.
Yeah, I don't know how we do it. Yeah, people are super friendly in there, and like I don't know, Yeah, it's amazing. I can't understand the community we're getting because it's awesome. Like we have 4 super fans who we just made moderators and are super into it and like really on top of the job, and it's just great. And they just do it because they find us funny and find the game funny, and it's amazing. If you had asked me 2 years ago if it would look like this, I wouldn't believe you. Like.
You'd be like, nah, it'd be 3 of us in a basement somewhere.
Precisely. Yeah.
So that's interesting, and that's very intriguing just to see how that kind of naturally falls up. So, I'm going to ask the question. You right now is saying the game's coming out some point this year. Do you have some sort of narrow down, or is it just 2019 still?
I think it's going to be late summer or autumn.
Got it. I'll put you down for August 21.
Do that.
and I'll bug you on that date when the game is not ready. I understand completely what you're saying. Okay.
But then again, like that's one of the important marketing beats. That's basically telling people when you're going to launch the game. And since it's indie title, you can't do it 9 months before you launch because that makes no sense. You could do that if you were, precisely, 10 minutes before. Oh, it's now, bye. Yeah. I mean, if you were making Assassin's Creed 12, it'll make sense to people hyped 9 months in advance, but it doesn't make sense for us at all.
It is very true. I forgot who I was talking to. I was talking to an indie friend, and they're like, the reason we don't know dates for games is because we just ship them when they're ready. And I don't know a game's ready until 10 minutes before a game is ready.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I completely agree with that because, like, there's a lot of things that you need to do in advance. So I think we will definitely know 2 months before because we need to be like on top of things, and we need to do better QA, like
friends done.
Yeah. I mean, I've basically used up all the friends and fools I know. So now I'm expanding the circle.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, I would like to thank you for joining us for this fun discussion about games industry in your game. So, What the Golf out 2019. Just on Steam.
It's well at the moment it looks like it's only on Steam, but who knows?
So, add to your wish list on Steam. Join your Discord. It's just on your website, right? We could find it whatthegolf.com.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, thank you for joining me. This fun.
It's my pleasure. Yeah. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye, everyone.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special segment for the SWW show. It's another interview. Mike's not on this one because he couldn't be bothered. So it's me, AJ, and I have got Ricardo from Camel 101 Games, whose game Those Who Remain is coming out later this year.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ricardo. Like AJ said, I'm currently working on Those Who Remain. It's a psychological thriller with a few horror elements. We've been working on the game for almost 3 years, and it's coming out this year for PC and consoles, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch.
It's funny for the game. I normally write down just like, okay, what kind of is the genre, when's it releasing, and then platforms, because some people do like PC and Switch, some people do just console. So I put, and you actually described it perfectly, I put thriller, releasing this year, and I just put every platform. It makes my job easy when somebody just puts all the logos at the bottom of their website, and I can just go, okay, everything.
We like to call it a thriller because it's not really a horror game. It's not made of jump scares. It's not a survival horror. So we could call it a dark adventure with puzzle elements, but that's basically describing a thriller. So
yeah. You can easily dive down into anything and make it way more complicated when describing it. But then by the time you do that, you're basically giving away everything. So
yeah, and the idea is just to give a brief summary of what the game is about.
yeah. It's interesting though the way you describe it, because for people that haven't seen, especially when you just pull up the trailer, the first shot, the still shot, the thumbnail for it, gave me like real PT vibes, because it's the hallway with the doors. But then you start realizing, okay, maybe it's not as trying to give you a heart attack through jump scares.
We've had a lot of people playing because we've been making a few gameplay sessions so that we can see if the puzzles make sense, if the pace is good, if everything's going on well. And if it's not, we can still fix what's not good, and we make a few iterations until the flow is good. And the feedback that we get from these players is that what's scary in the game is the overall environment, the setting, and what's going on around the player. So everyone says they're not afraid that the monster is going to jump out of nowhere, but the whole setting is kind of disturbing. And it's exactly the thing that we were aiming for.
That's cool. I'm not a fan of jump scares.
Yeah.
Just because not only do I feel like they're just a cheap way to get, people riled up, but I just don't like them. So hearing that it's going for that, not just regular horror, I guess is the way to describe it, but more of the environment is what's going to scare you. What's in the environment will make you not necessarily scared, but more attentive to everything.
Yeah, without spoiling the story, I can explain this because it's basically the start of the game. One of the main premises is that the player can't go into the dark. You must always find the light source so that you can be safe. And this is because there are some strange creatures in the dark that will attack the player. So the player is constantly looking at the creatures in the dark that are most of the times surrounding the gameplay area. So the danger is always there. The player can't go there. If he finds a dark room, there's a creature inside, so he must find the light source. So there's always the tension. The player knows that the creatures can't go into the light, but if a lamp explodes, if a light fails, he'll be in danger. So there's always that tension.
I like that mechanic of what's safe, but you don't know how long safe is going to be safe.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's interesting when we started the game. When we started writing the idea of the game, we just wanted to make a different gameplay where the player couldn't go into the dark. It's because of a reason that we hadn't explored yet. And then we started trying implementing the idea. And it sounded great on paper, but it wasn't working on the game because light gets gradually dark or light. So it's impossible to explain to the player in this part you are safe, and in this you are in danger. It just didn't click. So then we tied to the story the creatures that live in the dark. That actually everything blends together in the story and the narrative, and that's why we in the end we put the creatures in the dark, and it's a great addition. It works really good.
That sounds awesome. When I first started looking at this game, it gave me, I don't know if you played it. It wasn't super popular. It was called Kona, Kona.
I know the game. It's
Okay.
on my it's on my backlog.
Okay,
But
I'll tell you this. It looks like, in terms of the graphical style of that, just really, I was going to say clean, but clean's not the right word. The very realistic almost looking graphics. It looks a lot like that, and I'll tell you this right now. I played it, and it is very good.
I'll have to play
and
it
I'm
too.
sure you'll have a blast with it, especially after developing those who remain.
Yeah, because one of the reasons that we are doing this game is that we love the genre. Not only games, but movies, books, everything. I'm the biggest horror geek, and I try to play everything in the genre, but unfortunately the time there's always the problem of the free time.
Right.
But yeah, that one is definitely on my backlog.
I'll give that one a thumbs up to make it towards the front of that backlog.
Okay.
I'm really curious, because I like to generally, when we do interviews, it's people in areas that Mike and I aren't. So what are some of the adventures of making games in Portugal specifically?
It's actually interesting because our team, we are a small team of 3, and each one of us is in a different part of the world. I'm here in Portugal. My brother lives in Oakland, and the artist lives in Croatia.
Man, you span basically the entire world.
Yeah. We just miss an extra member in Japan or something,
Right.
or something like that. But yeah, this is the core team, and then we have a few freelancers doing specific things like music or sound. So the challenge is actually working remotely, but we've been working, the 3 of us, together like this for 12 or 13 years. So we got the process going good. See, just before I was telling you that me and my brother have a difference of 8 hours between us. We actually use that to our advantage because I can be working on something, and when he gets online, I can I would say pass the torch, and he grabs the stuff that I was working on, and he continues, and in the next day we repeat the process. So we kind of adjust to the constraints of working remotely, and we make the best of it.
Yeah, you've almost got a 24-hour cycle going on there, because
Croatia's
what, like 2 or 3 hours ahead of you?
Croatia is 1.
No, is it only 1?
Yeah, it's only 1 hour. I think it's only 1 hour.
So you get an hour ahead before you start, and then you give it off to your brother, and then it's it's 7 hours. From when he ends to when Croatia starts back up. So yeah, you've basically got a full waking hours on this game.
Yeah, we just have to prepare and to coordinate so that the task that one is doing will fit in and the next task that the other is doing. So it works. It's possible, and in the last couple of years, I've known several teams that do exactly the same in different parts of the world. So I think it's just a matter of adjusting and working with the right people, of course.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really curious because we had a guy from Singapore on for one of our interviews. And I asked him, because obviously Singapore is very small, if he had ever been to the Formula One race that takes place in the city. So my question to you, have you ever been to Algarve?
Yeah. Portugal is a really small country, so it's really easy to visit everything here. And Algarve, in the summer, it's like a mecca here. Everyone goes to Algarve because of the beaches and the weather.
Okay.
I'm not the biggest fan of Algarve, but yeah, I've been there, yeah, many times.
I've always wanted, like, it for some reason, I don't know why, but they racing games like to use that track as kind of like, okay, here's how you play the game. The licensed MotoGP game, that was your intro, was racing there. Project Cars has used it for in both their games, actually, for a tutorial. So it's a circuit that I always wanted to go to. It's on my list of ones to check off. It's Algarve, it's Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, it's the Nürburgring in Germany, and I'd really like to make it down to Austin, Texas to go to Circuit of the Americas, but even though it's in the country I live in, it's a hike. It's like from you to, I'm trying to think of, it's 1,100 miles, which is like 2,000 kilometers maybe.
Yeah, it's far.
It's a distance. So it's the second closest Formula One track, but it'll probably be the last one I go to, just because of it's just a weird place to be. There's no flight to go there.
Oh, really?
Well, there's flights into Austin, but I'd have to leave out of Chicago, which is it's a 2.5 hour drive to get to the airport if I'm doing that. But yeah, it's always interesting to hear people's thoughts on, especially with Portugal being so small and with Singapore obviously being the track being the city, to hear people's opinions on what it's like.
Yeah, in Portugal, I live very near Lisbon, which is basically in the center of the country. So from here, I can go to the south or to the north. It's about 3 hours drive, so it's really easy to go everywhere here. It's really, really small.
Man, if I go 3 hours north, I'm not even to the bridge to get to the Upper Peninsula. That's 4 hours.
Yeah.
If I go 3 hours south, I'm almost to Indianapolis. Another hour.
Yeah, it's a completely different scale.
I know. What's the saying in the U.S.? 100 years is a long time. In Europe, 100 miles is a long way.
Yeah. It's true. In here, and that's why it's very easy here to visit other countries, because the countries are small, so we can just go and visit some other place here.
Yeah. I mean, it's like that in the States. If you want to go to a different state, it's depending on where you live, it can be very easy.
Yeah.
But the further you go west, it's suddenly, the states are so big at some point that it's very difficult to visit a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I'm sure your brother in Oakland can attest to that because California is enormous.
Yeah. I believe he's visited Nevada.
Yep. Yeah. Nevada and California
Nevada.
share border.
Yeah. But yeah, and I think that's it. I've only been to California, and I was once in New York, changing airports because I bought
That's everybody's first visit to New York is going through one of the airports.
Yeah, but it was interesting because I was coming from San Francisco to Lisbon, and I had a stop in New York. And just before I boarded, the woman at the check-in, she told me, "Are you aware that you arrive in one airport and you leave in another airport?" And I said, "What?" I'm sorry.
You had to
And she
jump
said,
airports, not just gates. Yeah.
Yeah, I arrived in JFK, maybe?
Yep.
No.
JFK
Yeah.
is the one.
Yeah.
You probably left out in Newark.
Exactly, yeah. And I only had, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours. I was running and the cab to run to the other airport, and I still made it on time. But after that, I always double check if if I'm arriving and leaving in the same airport. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's one of the few unique areas where that'll happen in the States, at least, because everywhere else it's like, even Chicago, it's a distance between the two airports, so they wouldn't do that. I've luckily never had that issue going in and out of New York. It's always been whatever airport I landed in, we depart out of. So, yeah. I bet that was an interesting 2 hours for you, because all of a sudden you're like, you go from, okay, I'm ready to, oh no, I'm not.
It was.
I have to go across town.
Yeah, it was very stressful, and it wasn't the way I imagined my first visit to New York. Just watching everything by the window of the cab, but well,
yeah. So we'll wrap up here. We got Ricardo from Those Who Remain. Your game's coming out later this year on every platform known to man, and potentially, who knows, maybe there's a platform out there that nobody knows about, but because it uses Unreal or something like that can easily be ported over, it could suddenly be on a new platform without any work. And just a side note, I'm surprised Epic doesn't have their own box.
Yeah.
With as big as they're getting, I'm surprised they haven't talked about doing their own box.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if that's not on their plans. Like they're basically throwing money everywhere. So
yeah,
who knows? I was in the GDC last month, and the Epic booth was impressive.
Yeah, I imagine.
It was always full of people. They were giving free beer, free cookies, fried chicken.
Any booth with free beer is going to be the most popular booth there.
So it was basically the most popular booth in GDC. I think they were showing. We are the new sheriff in town.
Yeah. They're going, step aside, everyone else.
Yeah, we are here.
We've got so much money to throw around, it's not even funny, because we've got free beer.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if they announce something like that.
Oh, they'll do it. Everybody knows they will.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it'll go better than the Starbreeze box. Um, so yeah, Ricardo, thanks for agreeing to do this. We will definitely be checking back in with the game once it comes out, and
Sure.
who knows, maybe we'll see if schedules align and get you to do a kind of post-release wrap-up overview.
I'd love to. And I'll be sure to provide you with the Steam key so that you can play the game too.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
That's really-
We'd love to, man. We like to, not just talk to the people, but also if we get a chance to go through the game and experience it, because there's a lot of people out there that will do interviews, but then if they have multiple people on the system, they kind of just they'll give the game off to somebody else, or they'll do something like that. We don't like to do that, just because, I don't know, for me especially, it just having somebody else's points to talk about when I don't have experience with it is not fun.
Yeah, might be a bit weird.
Yeah. So, yeah, it can get a little weird. But yeah, we will have you back on once Those Who Remain comes out.
Sure.
And yeah, so thanks everyone. This is another interview. It'll be tacked on to, I'm sure, some episode that you guys are listening to. So yeah, everybody being Mike and myself at the SWW show, thank you for listening. Ricardo, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It was a great chat, and I'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, see you guys later.